if you're not having the success that you want to have, ask yourself this one question. Am I doing what needs to be done? Am I doing what needs to get done, right? And what I want you to do is to avoid constructive procrastination. Constructive procrastination. It's procrastinating in a way that everybody could look and go, seems like the right thing to do, right? But it's not really the right thing to do. And so take a look at your day to day and take a look at your day, any given day, and just ask yourself, am I doing today, am I doing this moment what I need to be doing? Right? I have to ask myself that all the time. If you just think about a sales funnel, and if you don't know this, all of us one way or another in some sort of sales funnel, even if you're like an engineer, you're trying to convince other people of what you're talking about. Well, a sales funnel starts kind of like this, right? Really wide at the top and small at the bottom. And the idea is there's a lot of top of the funnel activity, meaning, awareness, things like that. And then as it goes through, sales are at the bottom. And, for a lot of us, it's really easy to do top of the funnel activities, but it's a lot of hard work down here. And so constructive procrastination sometimes can be the top of the funnel. If your funnel's full enough and you got a lot of people in there, a lot of potential customers, then are you doing what needs to be done at the bottom of the funnel? And that's what I mean by today's tip. When I say, ask yourself, am I doing what I need to be doing today? Am I doing what I need to be doing right now? And it'll help you avoid constructive procrastination, and it'll help you have success. That was just a quick tip for those of you showing up early and on time. Again, I really appreciate it, so thank you for that. Today's training is about the top 3 daily tasks that I recommend for government contractors or small businesses. Really, it can be for anybody, but in particular, that's the audience I'm talking to. This, if you see the picture on my screen, it's a picture of a football stadium, San Francisco 49ers, from wherever they're at, whenever they're at. But when I grew up and I got into football for me is the 49ers. And so that's why you see that there. But I wanted to use that as an analogy of a little bit of the tip I was talking about, and certainly about the training today. When you think about a football game, and I get that not everybody is a football fan or even aware of football, so I'll try to explain it to a degree. But some of us show up as players to the football game, and we're thinking about winning the game. Our focus is on winning the game. We're like, we're going to win. We're taking this home today. Others of us are just, we're thinking about the touchdown. Scoring in football is about getting a touchdown, right? And so, or a field goal, but we're thinking about scoring and we're thinking about that the whole time. Others of us might be thinking about getting the first down. If you don't know this, basically there's 4 downs in football for every play. And what you're trying to do is go 10 yards in order to get a first down. And usually you try to do it in 3 downs. That's the side, right? But the point is, so many people are focused on the first down. What they should be focused on is just catching the ball. Right? There's this phrase I've used for a long time, decades, where you're running before you catch the football. And so in football, what that means, especially with a wide receiver, a person's job is to catch the ball. They're making the mistake of thinking about where they're going to run and what they'll do. And they're thinking about the first down, the touchdown, or winning the game, but they're not thinking about their job. And their job at that very moment is to just catch the ball, then determine the next thing to do. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, right? Is thinking about catching the ball as it relates to your business or your day-to-day activities. And when you do that, the first down, the touchdown, and winning the game, that'll all take care of itself as you move forward. So in today's training, I'm going to cover down on 3 things that I want you to focus on, right? First thing is holding daily stand-up meetings, and we'll talk about each one of these. The next thing is to determine your one thing, right? I talked about avoiding constructive procrastination at the beginning, but determining the one thing that is most important for you today. And then the third thing I want to wrap up with the training today is networking and branding yourself on LinkedIn, not your company, but yourself on LinkedIn. People buy from people. They don't buy from companies. And so that's an activity you can do. And that's what we're going to cover down in today's training. And those are the 3 bullets or the 3 things that every contractor should be doing. If you don't know who I am, my name is Neil McDonnell. I'm the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome you to my federal sales training where I provide tips for success in the federal market. I spent 20 years in the federal market as a small business owner, and since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. Process goes from A to Z, and when you follow a process, you have repeatable, predictable results, which is exactly kind of how I define the 7-step process for federal revenue success that you can see on my screen if you're looking at the screen. Okay, so we got 23 minutes to cover down on the meat of this. I end at 12:30 Eastern time every single day. The first thing I want you to do on a regular basis is to hold what we call a daily stand-up meeting. Daily stand-up meetings come out of, for me, the way I describe them, they come out of agile software development, right? We have what's called agile or Scrum ceremonies. these ceremonies, when we say the word, they're just meetings. And so we have multiple meetings that allow us to be agile. And one of them is this daily stand-up where developers come together and they talk. And I'll explain that. But they're staying focused on a piece of work. And we in sales, and by the way, I don't care who you are. If you're in this training, you're in sales. If you run a company, you're in sales. If you're responsible for profit and loss, you're in sales. And so we're all in sales. And so a stand-up meeting is 15 minutes every single day. You can make it less, actually, if you have a smaller team or if it's just you, right? It's totally okay if it's just you. But at the beginning of the day, you have a stand-up meeting. And the idea behind stand-up is everybody has to stand, because if you sit, you get too comfortable, right? But if you stand, everybody's trying to get to the meat of the meeting and then get away. You have it first thing in the meeting or first thing in the day. That's an important part so that you start the day, and you'll see why in a second. But you want to get your whole team. This is a bigger deal when you start having, 5 or 10 people. Bring them together for 15 minutes and give situational awareness to the team. Let everybody in the team know what's going on. I can see what you're doing. You can see what I'm doing. We're working as a team, and we're also, when we do these daily stand-ups, it lets us see the work and plan realistically for the day. I often find the problem is not people are lazy. We try to put too much into our day. And so having a team meeting where somebody says, hey, this is what I'm going to be working on. Somebody might go, wow, that's going to be, 5 hours. Is that what you really think you're doing? Like, you're right. Maybe I should just do a piece of it or something. And so that goes into how to hold the stand-up meetings. Daily stand-up meetings. First thing, the only real rule in here, besides it's only 15 minutes or less, is that no one's in charge. No CEO comes in and, hey, I'm the boss. No program or project manager's in charge. Everybody is a team. We come in equally to the meeting. We're sharing equally for situational awareness. I want to know what's going on with you and what you're working on. You want to know what I'm doing. It's not about accountability. I'm not there, and no one is there to report to the boss. That's separate. Have a separate style meeting for that. This is about situational awareness and teamwork. And so the way you do a stand-up is anybody who's in the meeting, they say 3 things, or they cover down on 3 things. Here's what I did yesterday. Here's what I'm doing today. And here are any roadblocks. And the idea of the roadblocks in particular is so that if anybody can help remove it, they do. If somebody can shift over and go, oh, you know what? I have a person I know who's in that agency. I can help you, right? I just saw somebody engage with one of my posts today, and they said they're an FDA. If I had somebody in my company who's trying to get into FDA, I can go, you know what? I just was engaging with somebody. Let me reach out and see if they'll talk to you about FDA and maybe getting you in, something like that, right? If there's a roadblock, you don't want an individual to deal with it all by themselves. Let the team know, and we can accelerate past the roadblock, and we're being productive. So you talk about, what did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? When you think about these tasks and what you're doing today, you really want to break them in 1 to 2 hour chunks. If it's less than an hour, maybe bulk them up together. And if it's more than 2 hours, you want to shrink it down. So an example is never write a proposal, right? Never actually even write a page. What I recommend is, like, for example, writing, and I'm stepping a little bit, write an outline. That's a task, right? It might take me a while to go, what do I want this outline to be? Design a graphic on the whiteboard that could be on this page. Write 1 paragraph. If you're going to write a good paragraph, my point is you want it to be short enough tasks that if you pick it up today, you get it done today. Often we pick up tasks that are going to take too long, and we never get them done, and they just seem to go on forever. And it's because we're not shrinking it down to bite-sized chunks. And so when you say, what are you doing today? That's what you want to describe is, for example, for me, I'm doing live training. I'm posting an 8 a.m. post on LinkedIn tomorrow, so I'm going to do that. I have a customer roadmap I want to build. So I've got a couple of these specific things that I can do pretty quickly. Like a roadmap will take me an hour or 2 or something. Those fit into that block, and it's important that you focus on it. So that's what I want you to think about from a daily stand-up. Every day, come together from a sales perspective and say, what am I doing today? What did I do yesterday? And what roadblocks do I have? If you do that, you will find your capture and business development activity move forward a lot smoother. Okay, so the second thing I want you to think about doing on a daily basis is to really determine your one thing. The idea of one thing, and I apologize, I don't know the author of the book, but there's a book out there called One Thing, and he summarized it pretty well. And we all do it in different ways. But what he said, and I think I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but what's the one thing that I could do that if I do it, it'll make everything else easier or unnecessary? When you think about your day, right? think about all the tasks before you, look at them before you determine anything. Go, what's the one thing that if I do it, it'll make everything else easier or unnecessary, right? And so I'll give you a quick example of something I just did recently. I actually did this yesterday, I think, or excuse me, Friday. The one thing that I determined I wanted to do that was really important to me was to take the GovCon Chamber's long range acquisition forecast directory, which we had on our website as a PDF, and we had updated on a regular basis, et cetera. I wanted to move that over into LinkedIn. And I said, if I move it into LinkedIn, it'll make the updating easier, because the updating process on the website means I have to update it in Word, then I have to save it as a PDF, then I have to upload the PDFs into our different areas on our website. I also have to take a screenshot of the new title page, which says October or something. I have to put that in there. I have to update emails that are going out automatically to people who download it. And then we also had this process of notifying everybody that we had done an update for October and, hey, come download it. So there's a lot of activity that could be easier if I had it in LinkedIn as an article. So I did it as an article. And when I did it as an article, it instantly made things easier, but it also made many things unnecessary. So I no longer have to go into my website and do all those tasks. I've done this once in LinkedIn. And now when I do any modifications, I go into one little line, change it, and it's done, and it's immediately out there. And if anybody wants access to it, they can get access to it, and they know how to come back to it, right? That's an example of a one thing. When I did that, it freed up a lot of my day, but also gave me visibility, which is part of my goal as well, right? Is to be visible within the GovCon community. So for you, think about that from a daily, weekly, or monthly standpoint. What's one thing that you could do that if you do it, it'll make everything else easier or unnecessary? Don't just do all the tasks that are in front of you, because they might not be overly helpful to you. They might have to get done, but sometimes it's okay not doing things that have to get done as long as you do the most important thing out there. So I wanted to give you one tip on how to determine your one thing. I already gave you the first one, right? Look at all the tasks that are on your plate and pick the one thing that's going to make everything else easier or unnecessary. But the second thing you might do is, if you're not getting sales that you want, or if you're not getting the success at different points you want, use the 7-step process that I have here. And I've got it out there. It's download many times. You can find it. But use this 7-step process and reverse the process. So if I'm not getting the sales, what's the one thing I can do related to my process to get more sales? Could I write more proposals? Do I have enough opportunities? Can I today or this week go get more opportunities in my pipeline that are slam dunk and give me an increased chance of winning? Or do I not have enough strategic relationships, right? I just introduced one of my customers to multiple relationships in the past week. And those relationships are introducing them to opportunities that they're able to participate on. And now they've found teaming partners that they actually think will be good as subcontractors as well. So it was something really helpful to them. That one thing for that week was establishing some new strategic relationships. You can go learn what that means when I say that. But the same thing, coming back, am I doing enough calls? You know what? The one thing I'm going to do that I hope will make everything easier is I'm going to reach out to 25 new people and try to start new relationships, right? That kind of activity. That's how you can determine a one thing that's important to your organization. Okay, so let's look at this last tip. And this tip I'm going to talk to you on a slide, and then I want to take you into LinkedIn and show you some of what I'm saying, because it's really cool, this process, and it's not that tough. So the third thing I want you to do on a daily basis, right? We've got, I want you to network and brand yourself on LinkedIn. And when I say branding, I really do mean branding yourself and not your company. Your company will take care of itself. You'll have a website and some other stuff, but it doesn't matter. People buy from people. When you build strategic relationships, it's with a person. When you team up with somebody, you team up with Sally from so-and-so company. Yes, you know the name of the company, even if it's Leidos or Booz Allen or somebody. It's Sally from Booz Allen. I know them. If it was just a random Booz Allen and you didn't know anybody, then you wouldn't team with Booz Allen. And so you want to brand yourself so that people see you as an expert, and you're leading people into being aware of your company. And by the way, you can be an expert at like capture and business development. They see you as a contributor to their winning. So let's talk about what networking is. When I describe networking, I really mean it's your community. You're engaging and building your community. Networking isn't professional or personal. It's your network. If you reached out to me and said, hey, I'm moving out to the DC area, do you got any suggestions on whether Virginia or Maryland's better? Well, that's not a professional question you're asking me, but I'm in your network and you'd feel comfortable talking to me about it because we're out there. Hey, I'm coming out there. Got any favorite restaurants? That's personal. And networks are also very valuable in your church or neighborhood communities. But in this particular case, we're talking about your community around the government contracting world, right? And so networking is building that community. Engaging with that community, talking to them sometimes, you talking to them talking to you. Imagine just walking around a conference when you're saying hi to people at booths. That's basically networking. That's different that I described branding, right? Branding is being known for something. Branding is, and yes, there's a lot of activity in there, but the way I'm defining it at the top, right? It's people knowing you for something. So hopefully people know me, and I think I've done this pretty good job. People know me that I am in the government contracting space. I play in the federal market, primarily helping small businesses and even tighter focus sales, right? I can talk to all different angles, but sales is where I begin to be known. And that's what I want to be known for, right? How do you increase your sales? Well, if you're in cybersecurity or zero trust, or if you're doing elevators, right? You want to be known for that. And now you've branded yourself. Branding is not colors. No matter what marketing people and other people say, I don't buy from you because your colors are red and blue or orange and black or purple and something else, right? We don't buy from that. We don't buy because of your logo. We buy because we know your company, you and your company are experts at something. And so that's what I want you to be doing on LinkedIn, is getting yourself known through regular engagement out there and through regular networking, known for what you want to be known for. Is it digital transformation? Is it project and professional services? Whatever it is, when you engage out there, you want to constantly be reinforcing that brand that you're trying to build. So I'm going to give you 3 ways you can network on LinkedIn. And so this is the how part, and I really want you to take some notes on this as you're going forward. But the 3 ways that I'm going to show you how you can network and brand yourself out there, and the activity is a little similar, right? Just what you get for it is different. But the first one is starting with my content, right? So I put out content on a daily basis. So you can come engage with it. You can engage with it with thumbs up or comments, etc. And I'm going to show you stuff. I just did something today on artificial intelligence across the entire federal government. If that's your space, that's an ideal space to be in. You know, you also might be able to come in and say something like, hey, I'm curious on whether artificial intelligence can be applied to elevator management or something, right? You're bringing it together. You're getting engaged out there. I recommend you have a link, right? Save me as a favorite in your browser. So you just click on it. You go right to my content and you can see it. You can basically hijack my content for your own networking and branding needs, which I'm totally cool with, because if you're engaging it, you know, we're all benefiting, but you can do that before you ever even create your own content. The second thing is follow people and ring their bell. And I'm going to show you about that in a second. Not their knock them on the head, but the bell in LinkedIn, right? But follow people who are related to what you do. And in particular, I would pursue government people or teaming partners that fit in that space. Not everybody that's out there. And the last one is you can do searches. Specifically go into LinkedIn, search for the content that you want. And I'm going to use Zero Trust as an example. But if I go in there and search for Zero Trust, now I can find a lot of content related to Zero Trust that I can engage in, which increases my networking and branding activities in LinkedIn. So, and here I put a little example of a comment that I could put on here. I'm probably not going to put that comment, so let me leave it there and show it. But here, I'm going to show you, perhaps, if it's still easy for me to find, I'm going to show you how I go in and search for Zero Trust architecture. One of the first posts I saw yesterday was a post from DISA about Zero Trust architecture and something going on. And 2 things about that. One is it wasn't much, and then it led somewhere else. And so I went to the other place and I found something to come back with, right? The other places where they talked about this Thunderdome. But right here, there was only 90 thumbs up or engagements, but only 1 comment. So that means there's maximum visibility that if you put a comment down like, wish I could have been a fly on the wall for this event. Hey, everybody, if you didn't know, DISA has a Zero Trust architecture webpage. Here it is, right? All those people who are attracted to this DISA post about Zero Trust would look down at the comments to see if there's anything interesting. And because there's so few, yours would be visible. Now you're getting visibility, networking, and branding because you're saying, hey, I know where the Zero Trust website is. So let's go take a look at that really quick. So if I do a search, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to search in zero trust architecture. Hey, look at that. I already did it. So I search for zero trust architecture, and I'm going to leave it zoomed out for 1 second. But right up at the top, it's got all these ways that you can search. But what I'm really looking for is post. This means content that anybody has posted related to zero trust architecture. Lucky for me, there's the one I was just talking about, right? So here, DISA, the Defense Information Systems Agency, one of the biggest spenders of IT services or buyers out there. And here you can read it. They do a little site, and then they say, click here to read the full story. And I'll show you that. Actually, let me click on it and open it 1 second. But look at this here. Nothing has changed. One comment from yesterday and 109 people on here. So what I'm encouraging you to do, if you're in the zero trust space, right, give it a thumbs up and then come in and comment. But what can you say to comment besides, hey, that's great, thanks for sharing? Don't do that. Like, if you're going to engage, it doesn't have to be that hard. If you're a zero trust person or company, you can respond with something similar to what I did. So I came over here and I read the article, right? So here's the article we're actually sharing. It's an article on our website, on the LinkedIn site. But in here, by the way, you can see they've got 52,000 followers. So it's not just the 90 people, but if you comment, the potential audience is 50,000 people who are tracking DISA. I don't mean to suggest you're going to get in front of all of them, but what if 1,000 people have viewed this post and they read the comment, but they didn't give a thumbs up or engage? I often get, like right now, I have several posts today and yesterday that are easily in the 4,000 or 5,000 views standpoint, and they've got 10 or 20 thumbs up, right? Not as many as DISA. I'm not as big as DISA, but people will view it but not engage it. That's why you want to engage, right? And so in here, what I thought was cool is I was looking at this and something in here. I was trying to look, so I just find it really quick. Right here, they're talking about Thunderdome and blah, 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 blah. So what I did is I just went really quickly over here and did a Thunderdome. And when I typed it, I found out there was a website that DISA runs. I'm assuming it's DISA, right? Yeah. So DISA runs it. It's one specific to DISA Zero Trust Architecture. There's a video on it, and it's cool. So if you remember that comment, right, I read through this, and I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. They got a lot of stuff. So coming back here, I wrote this comment. Wish I could have been a fly on the wall for this event. If you didn't know, DISA has a blah, blah, blah. And actually, let me show you this. I'm just going to do it. Why do it part way when I could do it all the way? So I'm going to do it like this. Come back here, this one, and I'm going to give it a thumbs up and a comment, and I'm just going to put that comment in. Wish I could have been a fly at the wall. If you didn't know, and I always do this, the @DISA. Come on, DISA. There it is. If you didn't know, Defense Information has a ZT website. Here it is, Thunderdome, and I'll share it. Right. So now it's visible out there. I'm engaging with this content. And this is what I meant when I said right here, right? Go in and search for content, figure it out. Let me show you one last thing, because I got right here. I was talking about follow people. I just want to pull a thread on that, right? Here is this person, Sean Everett. But actually, one way to follow people and to figure out, like, who could I follow to keep tracking their content? I'm going to click in here and see who in here really quick. I'm looking for somebody like, here's a U.S. federal leader. Let me click on that guy's name. I just want to find a couple. There's a cyber person coming down here, this NIST. I just needed to pop. I'm not denying people. And there's some of our friends in there, but I'm looking for like government in particular, DOD. There's four. Well, you know what? I'll actually take ForcePoint, because if you know about zero trust and cyber, ForcePoint's a big one. My point is, I can come in here, don't connect with somebody like this person, but if I come down and follow them, I get this little bell in the top. And so now I can get notified when they're sharing content. And generally what happens is when you follow somebody, they begin to look at you. Even if they don't actually hit the follow button, they start tracking. And if you're sharing content that is unique or specific to these people, then it helps. This one here, I love this, open to work. I'm going to skip them for 1 second. And this one's SciArc, right? So I found out that actually the lady I clicked on first was the one that was ideal. This person, I think they're leaving. Well, I was assuming they were leaving, but let me just follow them. Oh, I'm already connected with Parker. So let me come back here to my training slides, a little off. So that was the follow people and ring a bell. And the way I found people to follow was I found interesting articles related to what I do. And then I went and found people who were liking those articles. And now I can begin to engage them. This is a way to start building your brand on LinkedIn. And you only need to spend 30 minutes or less. I did all that in 10 minutes, right? You could spend 15 to 30 minutes a day and you would drastically, massively increase your network and your branding throughout the government contracting and federal space. All right, so here's what I want you to remember from today's training. Hold these daily stand-ups, even if you just do it yourself. Commit tomorrow, and from this point forward of scheduling 15 minutes or less for a daily stand-up first thing in the morning. The second thing is determine your one thing that if you did it, it would make everything else in your life and your job and your company easier or unnecessary. And then the third thing is go into LinkedIn for 30 minutes at the beginning of each day, or really anytime. Go into LinkedIn and network and brand yourself in there through the engagement process I just showed you. If you don't know, make sure you're subscribed to my GovCon Chamber newsletter. It's a great way to network. There's a lot of people in there, but it's where I share a ton of information that could be helpful to you doing your job. I already mentioned the No Nonsense Networking event. I would love to see you at that. Make sure you register in LinkedIn or come all the way over into the Chamber's website and register over there. If you're getting value from our training day in, day out, become a sustaining member. The sustaining members are people who are helping us support small businesses across the country. Plus, there's also $15,000 worth of value, and there's an upside to that. But we'd love to get your support. For everybody else, remember that government contracting, it's not a secret. It's just a process. Part of the process is coming back tomorrow. I will see you in the next training.